What's good, fam? Future turned the 2026 World Cup into a total disaster for Drake's ego when he showed up in a VIP box filled with people Drake cannot stand. While Future was making power moves, the OVO crew was stuck hosting a sad little party for yes men over at NOCTA Manor.
From there, the tournament runs through the round of 32, the round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then the final.
His massive betrayal played out on the global stage in East Rutherford between July 19 and July 22 of 2026. Future did not just show up for the soccer because he made a very specific choice to sit right next to Rihanna, ASAP Rocky, and Pharrell Williams. Every person in that group has serious history with Drake, and seeing Pluto standing 10 toes down with the enemy camp is just nasty work. This whole surprise comes after we all thought things were finally cooling off when Future appeared on the Drake track Ran to Atlanta earlier in 2026. That song was supposed to prove their friendship was back on track, but this World Cup stunt shows the piece was just a business move to collect a check.
Cumpliré el contrato y después veo, la verdad que siento la necesidad también no sé, pensar.
Even DJ academics and other big commentators are publicly asking where Future's loyalty actually sits after a move like this. You cannot claim to be cool with a man and then spend the biggest weekend of the year laughing with the people who want him gone from the culture. The timing is wild when you look at how the industry is shifting right now. Jay-Z is currently the 45% favorite to headline the 2027 Super Bowl 61, which shows exactly where the corporate power is moving. Future is heading where the heat is, and that heat is coming from the Roc Nation and Kendrick Lamar side of the fence. Seeing Pharrell and Future together is savage when you remember how Drake was obsessed with Pharrell's legacy and even bought his chains just to melt them down.
We may not have the recognition as New York or LA, but I think opportunities like this and continuing to succeed, and with FanFest being as well or doing as well as it could have in the country, it just shows that we can play with the big boys, and hopefully that'll continue to be.
Absolutely.
Future is telling the world that Drake's petty beefs are not his problem, and he would rather be with the legends than stuck on a sinking ship. While the real superstars were out in public making a statement at the stadium, Drake was trying to build his own reality at NOCTA Manor on July 22. He hosted an expensive after party that was meant to be a show of industry force to match the energy of the World Cup. Media reports from that night started coming out, and the most obvious thing was not who showed up, but who stayed away. Almost every major hip-hop figure who has been rocking with Kendrick Lamar since 2024 was missing from the manor.
I think that the more eyeballs that come on to a place, the more opportunities there are, especially with all the preparation that went into it, for people to see that Atlanta is a lot more that I think meets the eye. And it's been a way to connect with, I think, Atlanta. And even though if you don't like soccer, it's such a global event. It's kind of like the Olympics. It's kind of hard not to get behind it and feel a little bit of pride about having it.
Drake tried to frame the event as a celebration of the global game, but the lack of A-list peers showed how isolated he has become in Toronto. He is trying to use the NOCTA brand like a cultural shield to protect himself from the fallout, but that strategy is failing. The anti-OVO sentiment is still moving at full speed 2 years after the war started, and luxury venues cannot change the fact that the industry has shifted. Drake has officially entered the stage where he only hosts parties for his own employees and people he pays to tell him he is still the king. While his yes men are gassing him up, the actual movers and shakers of hip-hop are hanging out with his rivals in plain sight.
We may not have the recognition as New York or LA, but I think opportunities like this and continuing to succeed, and with FanFest being as well or doing as well as it could have in the country, it just shows that we can play with the big boys, and hopefully that'll continue to be.
Absolutely. Got everything together. There was a lot of prep and a lot of behind the scenes that people will never really know, I'm sure, and lots of meetings and problems.
It feels like a lonely fortress vibe. It smells like a massive coat instead of actual success. You can see the shift in real time when a man has to hide behind his own brand because the culture will not show up without a contract. The party was supposed to be a win, but compared to Future sitting with the Avengers of Drake haters, it looked like a retirement home. Drake is playing host to a crowd that doesn't move the needle, while the people who define the culture are making power moves without him. This NOCTA Manor event was a high-budget illusion of strength that nobody in the real world is buying anymore. Future was the one who started this whole thing in 2024 with the Like That record, and seeing him return to the other side feels like the final blow. It is becoming very clear that you can drop all the albums you want, but you cannot buy back the respect of the people who run the game.
Para seguir se necesitan un montón de cosas, sobre todo volver a resetear un lugar soñado que en mi vida pensé que
Drake is hosting parties for the ghost of his former self, while the rest of the world has already moved on to the next era. The desperation hit a whole new level on May 15, 2026, when Drake tried to flood the streets with 3 full albums at once. He dropped Iceman, Habibti, and Maid of Honor, packing over 40 tracks into one day just to try and bully his way back onto the charts. Most of those songs were just shots at Kendrick Lamar and the higher-ups at UMG, but the industry did not even blink because the music felt like a chore. Kendrick saw the play coming from a mile away and killed the momentum by re-uploading the Not Like Us video on May 11th. That move forced the YouTube and Spotify algorithms to reset right before Drake's big drop, which kept the victory lap in everyone's face.
What an incredible success story that World Cup Qatar 2022 was.
And it's been a way to connect with, I think, Atlanta. And even though if you don't like soccer, it's such a global event. It's kind of like the Olympics. It's kind of hard not to get behind it and feel a little bit of pride about having it.
This whole Iceman persona looks like a massive cope to anyone paying attention, since the industry is still choosing Kendrick and the Roc Nation camp. Drake wants us to believe he is this cold and unbothered guy, but his moves behind the curtain show a man drowning in frustration. His fights with UMG and Spotify over bot farm allegations have burned every bridge he had left with the people who kept him at the top. When you start filing lawsuits against your own distributors because a better rapper is outperforming you, the game is already over. The industry is watching a man try to sue his way back into a spot that he used to hold through talent and hit-making ability. Before we move on and see how Kendrick turned the Super Bowl into a Drake funeral, tell me what y'all think. Is suing your own distributor a sign of power or just pure desperation? Tell me in the comments. No cap. While you at it, like and subscribe. Let's continue. Everything goes back to the shadow of Super Bowl 59 because that performance still haunts every move Drake makes today. That halftime show in 2025 was the moment the decline became official, when 133.5 million people tuned in. Kendrick did not just win that night, he actually broke the legendary 1993 record set by Michael Jackson. That is a massive number that Drake's 40-song dump could not even touch with all those features and tracks combined. The industry gave its final answer at the 2025 Grammy Awards when Not Like Us won both Record and Song of the Year.
Originally opened in 1983, it was completely rebuilt between 2023 and 25, including a new seating bowl, a new roof, a parametric facade, and 110 VIP boxes.
That sweep was a formal rejection of every excuse Drake made during the 2024 beef, and it proved the gatekeepers moved on. Seeing Future hanging out with the rivals in 2026 is a special kind of humiliation for the whole OVO camp. Future was the one who lit the fuse back in March of 2024 with the Like That record. For him to align with Pharrell and Rocky after Drake tried to play nice on Ran to Atlanta is just nasty work. It proves that Drake's attempts to fix things are seen as weak by the same people he calls his peers. Even the legal system turned its back on him after his defamation claims were tossed out in early 2025. That court ruling proved his cultural eviction was valid in the legal system and on the streets. Drake spent an entire year trying to act like a victim, but the judge and the fans both agreed he simply got played. Future standing in that VIP box is the proof that the fear Drake once used to control the industry is gone. No amount of parties or triple albums will bring that aura back while he is fighting a losing battle against a finished legacy. Kendrick Lamar already finished writing the story on that Super Bowl stage while the whole world watched him do it in real time. Seeing Future standing right next to Pharrell and A$AP Rocky in that VIP box tells you everything about how Drake lost his grip on the industry.
Originally opened in 1983, it was completely rebuilt between 2023 and 25, including a new seating bowl, a new roof, a a parametric facade, and 110 VIP boxes.
From there, the tournament runs through the round of 32, the round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then the final.
People used to stay in line because they were terrified of being blackballed or missing out on that OVO stimulus package. But those days are definitely over now. When the same man who kicked off this whole beef feels this comfortable kicking it with Drake's biggest rivals, you know that Iceman era died before it even started. The 2026 World Cup was supposed to be a huge win on home turf for Drake since he has that global brand, and the location was perfect. Kendrick managed to cast such a long shadow that he turned the entire weekend into another high-profile loss for the Toronto rapper. While Drake tried to force himself back into the mix with 40 tracks of filler, Kendrick Lamar proved that moving in silence is the real power move today. Drake is leaning on legal appeals and putting out way too much music, but he is finding out that you cannot use a lawyer to make yourself look cool or relevant again. Everyone in the industry sees right through those lawsuits against Spotify and the desperate triple albums that are only there to juice the streaming numbers. You can really see the shift in how these artists carry themselves now because nobody feels the need to check in with Toronto before they move. Future has been around this game way too long not to know exactly what kind of message he is sending by standing next to Pharrell. This move hits even harder since Drake tried to humiliate Pharrell by literally melting down his legacy jewelry in a music video not that long ago.
Them to go off on social media, I think got millions and millions of impressions, and just a way to kind of be tongue-in-cheek, kind of funny with it. And I know Hines,
that is a level of disrespect that Drake has no real answer for because he is too busy fighting data points and lawyers instead of making the culture move. My final take on this whole situation is that you cannot buy loyalty with a fancy party at the NOCTA Manor when the entire culture is at the World Cup final without you. Instead of being part of the culture, Drake is out here building a fortress where you need a non-disclosure agreement just to get a drink. Meanwhile, the rest of the superstars are moving around freely and actually celebrating each other's success out in the open air. It shows a level of insecurity that is getting impossible to ignore, especially when his old friends are making a point to be seen with his enemies. As the ultimate industry weather vane, Future made a decision to stand with Pharrell and Rocky that shows the wind is blowing in a direction Drake cannot follow. While that Iceman persona was supposed to show he was untouchable, the reality is that he looks more isolated and desperate with every single move. Before we see how Drake tries to spin this World Cup weekend as a win, tell me what you think about Future sitting with the enemies after that Ran to Atlanta feature. Tell me in the comments and keep it no cap. And while you are at it, make sure to like and subscribe so we can continue.